On this video, I am going back to the book of Job again in the Hebrew, and we've been tracking the flow of thought from the Hebrew text with grammatical analysis and commentary, working verse by verse. We are now in Job chapter 6, verses 14 to 23. We've done the previous chapters, chapter 28 and also chapters 38 to 42. So now we're picking up at verse 14 and following. Just a note, I believe actually we are at verse 15, but let me just summarize this section again. Job reproaches his friends for their lack of human kindness and love for one who is suffering. They are like dried up streams, which promise water only to disappoint those depending on them. So Job boldly challenges his friends then to state his sin. In verses 15 to 18, he's going to liken his friends to a deceitful brook or wadi. And we just will begin that at verse 15 then. It reads, Achai bagadu kamon nachal, ka'afik nachalim ya'avoru. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook. Bagadu is the cow perfect, third common plural from bagad, to be deceitful. So they've acted deceitfully like a brook. Ka'afik nechalim ya avoru, as a channel of brooks which overflow or pass over. Notice here the afik is the Hebrew word channel in construct with nachalim. So as a channel, the channel of brooks that overflow. Ya avoru is from avar, to pass over. And here it means, I believe, to overflow. It's the cow imperfect, third masculine plural from avar. So as the channel of brooks that overflow, ha godarim mini karach, which are black because of ice. Ha godarim is picturing the blackness of ice that covers the waters or the streams. Alemo yet alem shalig. And it goes on to say, and upon them, or wherein upon them, the snow actually hides itself. Alam means to hide. It's a hitpael imperfect, third masculine singular from alam. And then the text goes on, Ba'et yezoravu nitzmatu, bechumot nidachu mim mekomam. Notice verse 17. What time they become warm, or at the time they become warm, they vanish. And when it is, and in their heat, when it is hot, they are then consumed from their place. Notice verse 17 here, a little bit of the grammar. The word Yezoravu is a pual imperfect, third masculine plural, or third masculine plural from zarab, and it means like to be scorched. So when it gets warm, they are scorched, or they become burned. Uh, the root here, zarab, is not found anywhere else in the Bible, in the Hebrew Bible, but the context seems to mean that they are scorched. Uh, it basically is probably the best rendering that we might be able to give at this point. So they are, when they become warm, uh, they at the time they are scorched, and notice they vanish away. They are scorched with the heat that has happened, and nitzmata, they are actually annihilated, or they vanish away. Samat is the root. It's a nifal imperfect, or a nifal perfect, third common plural from samat. So they vanish away, or they are annihilated, they vanish. And then behumol nid ahu mimikomam. When it is hot, then they are consumed from their place. At the hot weather, they no longer remain, but they are consumed. This is from the root da'ak. It's a nifal perfect, third common plural from da'ak. So they are consumed from their place. In other words, the heat melts the snow and it disappears. And then the text continues, verse 18. Yelafatu orchot darkam ya'alu betohu veyovedu. Betohu veyovedu. That is, the paths of their way twist or wind. This verb here means to twist, probably, to turn themselves. It's a nifal imperfect, third masculine plural from lafat. So the paths of their ways twist. And then ya'alu batohu veyovedu. They go up into the desert area, or to the waste area, and they are lost. Veyovedu is from avad. It's the cow imperfect, third person masculine plural from avad, a pay aleph verb. That's why we have the o vowel here after the prefix. So they go up and they then are lost. They disappear. And basically, what Job is arguing here is this: his friends, he likens his friends to a deceitful brook or a wadi. In the winter or rainy season, a wadi will overflow with an abundance of water mixed with melting snow and ice. In the summertime, however, when one is thirsty and needs water, the same wadi is parched dry and offers no refreshment. Job's friends are just like that. When he was in prosperity and needed no consolation, they were overflowing with kindness. Now, at a time when he needs their encouragement and consolation, they are proving disappointing. This is what Job is arguing. And I think it's a true statement that friends are going to be friends in time of trial or in time of struggle. So Job's really what he's really saying is you're like deceitful. You're like a deceitful brook. You're really not the friends that I need. So this brings us then to verse 19. Hibitu orchot tema halichot shava kivu lamu or lamo. That is, the caravans of Tema looked. The companies of Shiva waited for them. Um, Hibitu is a hifil, a perfect third common plural from nabat, a Peinun verb. And the caravans of Tema then looked, and the companies of Shiva. Here again, we in both of these cases we have two nouns in construct. Kivu lamo. They waited for them. That is for the wadis and for the water of refreshment, but they did not have it. Verse 20 then says they were ashamed. Boshu ki vatach, they were ashamed, for they, collectively here, he had hope. They came, ba'u adea vayechparu. They came here and were confounded. Boshu is the cow perfect, third common plural from the middle weak verb bush. Or bosh. So they came, they were ashamed, for he had hoped. Batach is the root to hope, a cow perfect, third masculine singular from batach. They hoped. They came unto it, unto these brooks, and they were confounded. Ba'u is from bo, it's a cow perfect, third common plural from bo. They came unto it, and they were confounded. From chafar, to confound, a cow imperfect, third masculine singular from hafar. Hafar. So, as we're looking at these verses, in the summer, when caravans or a group of desert travelers would come to these wadis, they would do so to find water. And Job says, instead of finding water, they are disappointed. What they expected to bring them water are now only empty gullies. So there's a disappointment. And that's the way his friends are. Tema, we talk about the caravans of Tema. Tema is located north of the Arabian desert, near the Syrian desert. The name is taken from Tema, the son of Ishmael, in Genesis 25, verse 15. Shiva is located in the southern part of the Arabian desert. Caravans were often established for companionship and safety from the elements, from wild animals, and robbers when traveling through the desert region. So this is what the picture that Job is picturing, how his friends disappointed him, just like the caravans of Tema, and the companies of Shiva were disappointed that the wadis had dried up. So then, as we continue in the next verse, verse 21, Ki ata hayitem lo tir'u chatat v'tira'u. For now you have become to him or his. You see terror and you are afraid. And actually, we could translate it for now. You have become to it or like it. You see terror and you are afraid. Hayitim is the cow perfect second um, masculine plural from haya, and tiru is from ra'ah, a lamed hey verb, a cow imperfect third uh, or second person plural from ra'ah. So you see terror and you are afraid from yara, to be afraid, another cow imperfect second masculine plural. So Job's friends have become like dried up brooks. They see the terror that Job has experienced and lose their presence of mind and fear themselves. As a result, they fail to give Job the comfort he needs. I think this is the thought here that the text is saying. So then, as we move on to verses 22 and 23, it reads, Chahi amarti havuli u mikohachem shachadu va'adi. Was it that, or did I say, give to me and offer a present from your substance, or from your substance, your kohachem, shachadu, present unto me a gift, like an offering or a gift? Did I really say that? Job is saying. Havu is the imperative here in verse 22 of the verb to give, the cow imperative masculine plural in 22. So from yahav, to give. So did I say give to me? Amarti is just your cow perfect first person singular from amar. And then from your substance, offer to me, unto me. Shachadu is like he wants a bribe or something. It means to bribe. Did I bribe you in some way? I think he's saying here. And shachadu or shechadu is the cow imperative, shachadu, excuse me, from shachad. So did I bribe you in some way and want you to, actually it's shechadu, excuse me. Did I bribe you and ask that you present a bribe to me? And what Job is saying, no, I did not. Or notice verse 23, U malatuni miyad tsar umiyad aritzim tif duni, or deliver me, rescue me from the hand of the adversary, or from the hand of the oppressors. Will you redeem me? Now, I think what Job is saying here, did I ask for any of that from you? The verse 23, deliver me from the hand of my oppressors. Malatuni is from malat, to deliver, it's a PL imperative masculine plural from malat, followed by the pronominal suffix in the E here with the hinge in the noon. So did I in any way ask you to deliver me from my adversary and from the hand of the oppressors? Uh, will you redeem me? Did I ask that? From pada, it's the cow imperfect, third cow imperfect, second person plural, masculine plural from pada with the pronominal suffix in the E here. Did I ask for anything like that? And of course, the thought is, no, I have not. So as we look at this particular section, Job has not asked them, he's saying, for an expensive present, a bribe, or to ransom him from a captor out of their money and possession. Had he done that, he might have expected rejection from them, but he didn't do that. His only desire was for affectionate treatment. And how often that's what people need. And that's the very thing that his friends, his so-called friends, are not giving him. So as we move on, it reads then, Horuni va'ani acharish uma shagiti havinuli. Teach me, and I will hold my peace. And cause me what I have done, what I have erred, cause me to understand, Job is saying here. Notice Horuni in verse 24 is the Hifil imperative from Yara, followed by the pronominal suffix in the E. So teach me, and then I will be quiet. I will be silent. Acharish is the cow imperfect first person singular from charash. So if you would but teach me, then I would be silent. Excuse me, this is a hifil, not a cow. A hifil imperfect first person singular from charash. So teach me, and I would then be silent if I have done err. What have I, how have I erred? And give me understanding. Shagiti is from shaga, to err. So let me know how I have erred and give me understanding. And then I would be quiet, is his thought here. It's the cow perfect, first person singular from shaga. And cause me to understand. The root here is being. It's a hifil imperative, masculine plural from being. So give me understanding how I have erred is really what his point is here. So Job's friends are not able to prove what he's done wrong. And then in verse 25, he continues, Ma nimratsu imre yosher, uma yohicha hohecha mekim. That is, how the words really of uprightness, verse 25, they are grievous. That is, the words that you are given, they could be right in certain circumstances, but they not here. They are grievous to me. Here we have a nifal perfect, third common plural from Uh, Maratz, notice the noon prefix indicative of the nifal stem here. And then ma yohicha hoche mikem. That is, and what um, do you cause to reprove or decide? What does your arguing argue? Literally is the idea. So what are you arguing to argue from me? What is it arguing? I think he's saying here. Notice yuhicha is a hifil imperfect third uh, masculine singular from yachach, to reprove. So, or to argue or to reprove. So what actually is your that which you're that which that reproof that you're giving? Um, what what is your argument? It doesn't make sense. Notice hoche is a hifil infinitive absolute from the root yachach. So he's using a thought here that please teach me what you're arguing. Your argument doesn't really fit. As I look at that particular verse, then in satire, at this point, Job challenges Eliphaz to show him his sin if suffering has come as a result of his sin. Job concludes, however, that Eliphaz cannot do that, for his words are not based upon any facts. So, what does your arguing to argue really argue? Is what I believe he's saying here. And then we move on to verse 26. Ha le'ohach milim takshabu, that is, or takshivu. Do you hold words to be an argument? Uleruach imre noash, but the words are just wind. That is, but the speeches of one that is desperate to be wind. For wind, the words are like desperate speeches. Let me just think about this verse a second here. First of all, grammatically, alahocha is an infinitive, a hifil infinitive construct from the root yachach, to decide or to reprove. And this is followed by takshavu, which is your cal imperfect, second masculine plural from chashab, to devise or think. And then for wind, words of words that are despairing. In other words, it looks to me like your speech is like words that are despairing, simply nothing but wind. Notice here, noash, words of despairing, is a nifal participle from the root ya'ash, to despair. So your words are simply words of despairing that simply are speaking to the wind, it seems to me. Job's friends reprove him with their words, but brush his words aside to the wind. Maybe that's the way we should understand it. In other words, to the wind, they brush his words. One that is desperate. Words of one who is desperate, speaking of himself. Uh, you brush to the wind. You don't give attention to it. That seems to be, the more I'm thinking about it, the way that this particular phrase seems to make sense. And so then we go on to the next verse, verse 27. Af al yatom tafilu v'tikru al um, re'achem. Indeed, for the fatherless or the orphan, you cast lots, and you dig for your friend, you dig a pit for your friend. Looking again at the grammar for just a moment here, for the orphan, tafilu is from nafal, to, we could render it here, to cast, like to cast or to cause to fall. It's a hiphil imperfect second person masculine plural from nafal in verse 27. So you cause to fall for the orphan, like a lot, and dig a pit for your friend. Tikru, you dig, like a pit, is a cow imperfect second masculine plural from kara, and so you like dig a pit for your friend, seems to be the thought here of verse 27. So what I think Job is saying, in ignoring Job's outcry of suffering, Job's friends are like those who cast lots for an orphan to sell him into slavery. The picture is that in this verse, I believe, of two creditors coming to collect from a widow. They are so hard that they would gamble to see which one could take the child into slavery. This is the picture that Job, I believe, is giving for the hard-heartedness of his friends. Selling a friend, they would even sell a friend. They would also barter away their friend. This seems to be really what Job is saying about his friends. Then in verse 28, Va'ata hohilu fanuvi va'al penechem im achazev. But now, turn, be pleased to turn or look upon me. For surely, for before your face, I will not lie. So as we look at verse 28, notice he's encouraging them to look at his face. Would he tell an open lie to them? Ba'ata ho'ilu. The word ho'ilu here is a hiphil imperative from ya'al, to be willing, a second masculine plural. So be pleased to look upon me, or be willing. Now be willing in turn unto me, seems to be his thought. And upon your face, or before your face, or upon your face, or in the presence of your face, im achazeb, I will not lie. Verse 28, here we have the root chazav, to lie or deceive. We have a PL imperfect first common singular from chazal, followed by the hate pathak and the pathak, followed by the hate pathak and the doubling of the middle radical. So what Job seems to be saying here is, look at me. Confident of his innocency, Job challenges his friends to look him square in the face. Surely, Job reasons, I would not lie to your face. And so he continues, Shuvuna al tehi avla. Return now. Let there not be injustice. Return again. Beshuvu od sidki va. Return again. My righteousness is in me, or my righteous cause is in me. Shuvu is the imperative, the cow imperative from shuv. So return unto me, or turn to me, and let there be no injustice. Tehi is from haya. It's the cow imperfect, third feminine singular from haya. So let there be no injustice. And then the next phrase, shuvu, I'm understanding here following the kure as a cow imperative, masculine plural from a shu. So return, again, my cause, return again to be open to me. My righteous cause, or my righteousness is in me, my righteous cause. So I think what he's saying here, change your mind or retract your charges against me. I am righteous. My plea to innocency is right. Don't be unjust and wrongly accuse me, I believe is what Job is concluding here. So then in verse 30, Hayesh Bilshoni Avla, is there injustice in my tongue? Im Hiki Lo Yavin Havot, cannot my taste understand like devices or crafty devices? Cannot my taste understand crafty devices? It seems to be the question that Job is asking here. And Yachin, or Yavin, is the cow imperfect, third masculine singular from being. So cannot my taste understand like crafty devices, I believe is the way I would render chabot here. Devices that are deceptive and wrong. So Job pleads in this verse that his tongue is not unjust or lying, and that he could certainly discern between good and evil, whether he was guilty or innocent. And he's asking his friends to change their attitude. He really has the moral sense to perceive, he's saying, whether or not he has committed a sin worthy of the calamities in which he is undergoing. Thus Job insists, accept my plea to innocency, for I am fully capable of making proper moral judgments. And that is really what Job is concluding in talking to his friends. I think I'm going to stop there, and we'll just try to slowly continue through the grammar with commentary of the book of Job.